Hey there, good Sunday morning. It is the 25th of January. That big snowstorm is here and it's already providing a lot of snow across the state. I'm meteorologist Alexis Clemens. We've been live all morning long. We watched as the snow moved through the region. Now it's here. We want to know what's happening in your region and we'll answer any questions that you might have. I can already tell you as well, I have seen at least 3 or 4 crashes from this system on the roads. So I'm just going to keep up CT roads just to make sure that I am paying attention to anything. It's a little tough out there. It's slippery. It's that fluffy stuff for sure, which makes it easy for removal. So that is good news, but it's cold for sure. And it's going to pile up very quickly. Fluffy snow can accumulate a little bit quicker than a wetter snow. So we'll go ahead and show you what's happening on radar. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. That snow has now made its way across all of Connecticut here as we continue to track it for you. I'm kind of just watching totals, and I mean, there's just been a line of heavy snow from like St. Louis through Indianapolis, up through central Ohio, and that makes its way. I think the bullseye for this is going to be closer to Massachusetts near Boston. Boston could see upwards of 2 feet of snow from this system. That's what's looking very likely here. I know we all love a good snow game, but it is a good thing that the Patriots are playing away today because roads are just, I mean, I think at some point today, some of the roads might just be impassable just because of how quickly that snow is going to come down and whiteout visibility here. I mean, that whiteout conditions with very low visibility. So I have already seen some snowfall totals. I'm looking right now at them and let us know what you're seeing. By about 9 a.m., some areas had been saying they've seen already an inch and a half of snow. I think I measured about an inch and a half here in West Hartford just a little bit ago. And then I'm already seeing right now as well 3 inches in Norwalk, 3.5 in Stamford. So it definitely started over southwestern Connecticut first there in Fairfield County and then spread further northeast there. Looks like an inch and a half recorded in Bethel. That's near Danbury there. New York City, I think I've seen about roughly 3 to 4 inches there in New York City. So all that's on the way. And again, that's not even the heaviest of the snow that we could be seeing from this event. So we're still monitoring those totals. Let us know what's happening in your region. I've got a couple live looks I can show you here, but I do want to show you just how huge this system is. At one point, we did actually measure it. I think I can measure it again here from kind of, so that's what, roughly 1,500 miles. That is insane. That's a huge system there. And that's from here in New England all the way down to the Gulf Coast of Texas and Louisiana. That's why this has been such a big talker because, and also I'm watching, there's some ice accumulations pretty hefty over towards Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi there. So it is really, I mean, this is a huge system here for us in New England, another day, in the life of us for the winter. But for some of the South, man, this is tough. We've got some reports, lots of snow coming down in Glastonbury, 1+ inch in North Guilford. Thank you for that. Snowing heavy right now in Colchester. Yeah, I bet it is definitely coming down across the region here. So again, just showing you how insanely large this system is. A lot of you might know I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, and my family has told me they've seen 8 or 9 inches of snow, which is a pretty big deal for that area. It's not too far north, and it's right in the middle, but still, I mean, this is a huge system here. So just again, showing you how large this is. So many people dealing with this. And again, zooming in on Connecticut, everybody's seeing snow right now. Somebody says snowing very heavily in Middletown, 4 inches in Colchester. Yeah. Oh, I bet that we've already got a couple areas near about 3 to 4 inches. Somebody said just measured 2 inches in Canton. Somebody said go Cardinals because I said I was from St. Louis. Absolutely, go Cardinals. Love them. Not baseball weather, I will say that, but still a lot of fun. I am showing you a live look in West Haven right now. This is on, I believe, 95. I think this is 95 here. We did have a crash there earlier. I believe that has since been cleared, but visibility is super low. You can barely see that highway sign there. That's not even a quarter mile in front of you. Let's see. People are saying they visit Missouri often. Good for them. I love it. It's a good time. Just measured 2 inches in Canton. Amazing. Snowing in Waterbury right now, very heavily in Middletown. Somebody asked if there will be thunder snow. I honestly can't rule it out. Actually, you know what? For funsies, we're going to take a look at radar across the country and see if there's any lightning that's being picked up here, because that's a nice it's a nice idea. I think that'd be a lot of fun to watch. So let's see if I can find our lightning tool on our radar here, because if you do hear a couple rumbles of thunder there, that would just signify some really hefty snow coming down. That would signal 2 to 3 inch per hour rates here. And I think so far we've seen about half an inch, maybe an inch per hour rates, which is still pretty heavy, but yeah, still monitoring that. So let's see. I don't know if it'll show us anything further than kind of this area here, but yeah, I don't see anything just yet, but we'll keep an eye for sure. But I know all the weather enthusiasts would be excited to see that. Not seeing anything just yet, but that doesn't mean that it can't happen. All right, let's go through some more comments. Because it's snowing so much, will it continue like this again tomorrow? No, I expect, honestly, much of this to wrap up by about midnight. So most of this system is done by midnight, but couple of lingering snow showers through tomorrow. So basically from now until midnight, continuous snow. I don't really expect things to let up here until about midnight. Most of the accumulation, a foot and a half, happens today until midnight. And then with any snow that we see tomorrow, an additional inch or 2, all when it's said and done, still expecting about 18 inches or less. Wouldn't surprise me, though, if some of our hill towns overperformed and went up towards like 20 inches of snow. This is a huge system here. 2 inches in Ashford. Thank you so much. Let's see what else we've got going on here. Somebody says they're in Florida. It's supposed to be 90 degrees today. Congratulations that you're not dealing with the snow. Snowing like crazy in Middletown. Somebody's asking, will we lose power from the storm? I will say we're not really tracking much of a wind component, so that's good. That would usually provide that loss of power. Same with ice, not really tracking that. Even with the sleet that we're monitoring later on today, it's ice pellets. I don't really accumulate on telephone poles, so that's good news. So from a meteorological expected, power outages are lesser, but that doesn't mean they can't still happen, of course, especially with it being so cold and everybody using heat. Snowing like crazy in Middletown. We've got 2.5 inches in Seymour, 4 inches in Waterbury, 3 inches in East Hartford. Somebody says, so glad I'm going nowhere at this moment. I am so looking forward to later on today, just staying in and watching some football. We're very, very blessed. I got here early this morning, about 3 a.m., and meteorologist Anthony Carpino is going to take over for me here in about 2 hours. And then Ryan Hanrahan will be in later on today. And then we'll all be back tomorrow as well, continuing to track this for you. But I'm excited. We'll get home safely and then watch some football for sure. I'm looking forward to it. I feel Monday will be clear with the sun coming out. I don't know if we see a whole lot of sun on Monday. I think it's still a little cloudy. We could see a little bit here and there, but still kind of monitoring that system through Monday. Tuesday, the sun definitely comes out. About 2 inches in Bridgeport. They were towing some remaining cars on the street. Yeah, I bet there are a couple of parking bans in place. I don't know them off the top of my head, but I would assume with all of the snow that's coming. 2 inches in South Windsor, 3 inches in West Suffield. Will we have any special coverage on TV today? We will. We'll have some, I believe we're currently in Meet the Press right now on NBC, but we are expecting to do some cut-ins on linear TV as we go through the day, kind of 1 or 2 every hour, just with updates on what's happening here. We've got our shows at 6 and 11 p.m. tonight, and I believe at any time today, if you're on our streaming app that you can get through Roku, whatever it might be, our website, we'll be on that as well. We'll be on here. We'll take a couple of breaks here and there to, go to the bathroom, eat and stuff like that. But we've got you covered all day long. About 2 inches here in Windsor Locks, snowing at a good clip. Amazing. 3 inches. Let's see. Will the snow be light and fluffy, meaning it will be easy to move? Most of the snow should be light and fluffy. And the reason why, and I'll go ahead and show you this here. Let me go ahead and grab our temperatures. Where'd they go? Here they are. Temperatures are really, really cold out there. I don't know if you've noticed, if you've stepped outside. It is 6 degrees in Hartford, 3 in Torrington, 10 in Norwich and Groton, 9 in Chester, 7 there in Meriden, 5 in Waterbury. It's well below freezing. So when we've got temperatures this cold, one thing, rock salt doesn't usually work. So that is unfortunate there. But when temperatures are this cold, it's that fluffy stuff. I went outside. I think I just posted a video on it on all of my social platforms. That snow it's that fluffy stuff out there. It's really peaceful as it falls as well. But the sleet that we're tracking at the shoreline later on tonight won't be as peaceful. We'll talk about that in just a second. I'm just reading through all of these comments. 3 inches in North Branford. Visibility is very low. We're definitely seeing some lower visibility. Somebody said there about a quarter mile in North Guilford. Look at that. Our current visibility across the entire state is just about at a quarter mile. That's really, really tough conditions to see and drive in. So another reason why you want to stay off the roads today if possible. 2 inches in Derby, 4 inches in Naugatuck, 3 inches in Monroe. Somebody says time to plow. Absolutely. And we've talked with DOT all morning long. They're doing an excellent job. It's just, and their crews are working tirelessly. We really, really appreciate them. But with the heavy snow that we're expecting later on today, it's honestly going to be really hard for crews to keep up. And that's an issue there. We'll finally see things slow down on the snow front by about midnight or so. And then just a couple of lingering showers tomorrow, but the bulk of this ends by midnight. So I do want to track this out for you here. Somebody says 3 inches in North Branford. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you all for sending in your reports. You guys are better than me. I would be inside sipping some coffee and watching it from my window. But the people that are going outside and measuring it, we appreciate you. We actually really do. Or maybe you would do what my parents would do and just be like, hey, kids, and you go do it. Like all the kids love to be outside. If you got a backyard, when I was growing up, I had a big hill in my backyard, so we used to sled all the time, and it was so much fun. Somebody said, looks like finely shredded styrofoam, about 3 inches in Bristol. I don't think I've heard that one before. I like that a lot. Inside drinking my cup of hot cocoa. That just sounds perfect on a day like today. And hey, football's on. We got to be excited about that. We've got so many great things there. Somebody asked if I think Walmart will be open on Monday. I don't know. I would assume. I don't know how Walmart works. I don't know how all that works, but I will say, I think there will be major improvements by tomorrow, especially as the day goes on through Monday. So I do want to track this out for you here and watch these temperatures as we track your future satellite and radar. We've got temperatures, single digits, teens, very fluffy snow. We've got fluffy snow in effect until temperatures start to move into the 20s. That's when things will start to get a little bit wetter out there. But the big thing, though, is you'll notice some of that pink moving through. Let me back up just a little bit on this time frame here. So the pink there, that is sleet. So there are different types of precipitation here. You've got snow, freezing rain, sleet, and rain. We're really just tracking snow and sleet. Sleet is ice pellets. You'll hear those hitting your windows. You'll know when it's falling because it's very loud. But if it's heavier sleet, which is possible after about 7, 8 p.m. along the shoreline, only in our southern counties here, you'll hear it. And it'll stick together and create kind of an icier consistency. What that's going to do is kind of weigh down that fluffy snow, compact it. So actually, when you take snowfall totals tomorrow, once all is said and done, hill towns in northeast, northwest Connecticut probably going to see over, close to 1.5 feet of snow. In southern Connecticut, it'll probably be something similar, but because of that sleet, it's going to weigh down those totals and make it look lesser. It's interesting. It's science there, guys. It's very interesting. All right, let's see what other comments we've got. Somebody's asking how much snow for Oxford. I think close to a foot, maybe a little bit more, and maybe a little bit of that sleet mixing in after about 7, 8 o'clock tonight. Let's see. Birds are at the feeders in Groton. Oh, that's exciting. They should be heading south for the winter. They have that. They have that ability. It's been snowing like crazy in Torrington for a couple hours already. Absolutely, we've definitely been seeing that across the region. Down to a quarter mile of visibility in Berlin. Temperatures at 6 degrees, melted to a 30-to-1 ratio. Wow, that's impressive. That's a snow to liquid ratio that we see. If you guys are able to do that, that would be incredible. So if you have a rain gauge, this is actually very helpful, and you'll be literally contributing to science here. If you have a rain gauge, set it out. Let the snow fill up to an inch or so, and then bring it inside, let it melt down, and tell us how much liquid comes from that inch of snow. And then we'll be able to tell snow to liquid ratio. It's a lot of math, so let us do that part if you want. But it really does help. Fluffy snow will provide really high snow ratios. So only a tenth of an inch of what would be rain in these conditions can produce quite a bit of snow. I mean, 3 inches, if that, it's very, very interesting. Ben also asked, will mixing make it past Middletown? I don't think so. It didn't really look like that from all of the trends that I had been seeing. You might hear a couple of sleet pellets there this evening, but that would likely be about it. For the shoreline, I think the mixing is the sleet is really what's creating those smaller snowfall totals, and that's kind of why it's a bigger story there. But it wouldn't surprise me if some areas did hear a couple of those sleet pellets through the evening. Looks like 2 inches in Trumbull, watching the birds in the feeders. I love that. 2.5 inches in South Windsor. We've got heavy bands falling. Somebody's asking if we're getting travel bans. I will say, I think we do have a couple on again, I'm not the news people. We've got all that on our website on NBCConnecticut.com. But I know that I think commercial vehicles like tractor trailers are banned on roads after noon today. So, because again, we're still kind of expecting that heavier snow to move in later on today. It's already coming down pretty good, though, I will tell you. Somebody said playing Madden on PS5 during the snowstorm. Fantastic. That sounds like a perfect snow day to me. Let's see what else we've got here. Somebody said, I'm surprised that the snow started so early with the very dry air. It is a good point. And we had some really light, I'm trying to think of how best to describe this. Early this morning, as we were watching this come in between about 5 to 7 a.m., we had snow all across the radar, but we looked across the state. None of it was coming down, right? It was those clouds moving in. We had moisture up above, right? But when snow is that heavy, it'll pass through a dry atmosphere very, very quickly. And that's what we kind of saw here. So just shows you again how dynamic, how strong this system is, and why things are going to be piling up through the day. Yep, we do have a state of emergency because of this snow. I just think about all of the emergency responders. Unfortunately, we've already had a couple of crashes on the roads today, right? Even if you're someone who thinks they can drive in the snow, I am one of those people. If you don't have to drive today, you don't want to. I mean, we don't want anybody to be stuck in these conditions out there. And the people that need to get to where they're going, emergency responders, doctors, all of those things, we really do appreciate what they're doing. And, just the safest thing that we can do is stay at home while they have to get to work. And it's easier to do that with less people on the roads, right? Somebody said, go Pats. Yeah, it'll be a good one. It'll be a good one for sure. Pats and Broncos at 3, I believe, and Seahawks and Rams at 6:30. I guess I'm rooting for the Pats since I live in New England now. I will say, as a former St. Louisan, I got to root for the Seahawks later on today. I don't really want the Rams to make it since they're not in St. Louis anymore. But if they do, that's okay too. Coming down really heavy in Wallingford. That makes sense. Okay, yeah, let's step through some future radar again. So starting with what's happening right now. Actually, let me go back to your current radar here. Current radar shows snow all across the state here. And you can see, that darker blue there from Waterbury down to New Haven, Old Saybrook. So it's definitely coming down across the region in Wallingford, like someone said. And it will continue to do so. Our future satellite and radar is doing a really good job of picking up on that there. And it could be even heavier. Like I said, the snow that we're seeing right now, it's not going to let up through the rest of the day. I don't really see that happening through the rest of your Sunday. I think it's going to be a pretty steady snow there. Now, once those and temperatures are actually going to lift through today and tonight. They don't cool down again until Monday night. So let's watch those temperatures as they start to lift into the 20s there. That is going to lead to the chance for some sleet. So there it is right there. You kind of see it from about 7 p.m. starts to move into the shoreline and then upwards of about 9. So after 7 p.m., we can start to see some mixing, some sleet moving in there. That's going to be at the shoreline, maybe up to about the Middletown area there. So the kind of the central part of the state. The northern counties shouldn't really see this. You may hear a sleet pellet or two, and you'll hear it. Sleet is loud. It hits your window. Those are ice pellets there. So you'll hear it. We've got a few more it looks like somebody said somebody had to go out and the roads in Lebanon were slick out there. So yeah, we're definitely seeing some low traffic and very just slow traffic as well. Somebody said stay home if you can. Very good. I got an alert that CT Transit will suspend service. I mean, that makes sense with everything that's happening across the area. Again, with updates on transportation, we do have links to that on our website, nbcconnecticut.com. We have all of that information. I'm just the weather nerd. That's all I can tell you about there. That's what they pay me to do. So, and for any of that additional information, you can go to our website. But we've got that sleet across a lot of the region here, the southern part of the state this evening. And I want to I'm going to show you this graphic here just to better explain the difference between the precipitation types, because it's very interesting. So snow is snow. We're seeing that right now, right? Sleet is very interesting because it falls as snow, then it melts, then it freezes well before it hits the ground. So those are ice pellets. Freezing rain is a different story because it kind of falls as rain and then it ices. That's where you see really slick spots. Freezing rain, I've always said, is the worst type of precipitation because it just falls. It makes things extremely icy. Sleet is kind of like, trying to think of the best way to describe it. So like freezing rain is icy, super like slick. Sleet is like, it's icy, but it's rugged. It's very rugged because those are sleet pellets that are trying to freeze together. That's what we're kind of expecting there, up to maybe a 1/4 inch of that, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it'll really weigh down that snow. And if you're shoveling tomorrow and you did see some accumulations of that sleet there, it's going to be rather heavy. So just make sure you're taking care of yourself. Will any part of Connecticut see freezing rain? I don't think that's a possibility here. I think temperatures at the surface are just way too cold for that. And so the way that sleet works is that basically above our atmosphere, there's got to be a warm nose. That's what's allowing that snow to briefly melt and then freeze. For freezing rain to happen, we have to have a very, very large warm nose. And I just don't see that happening. I don't think that rain will be supported more than 1,000 feet above our heads here. So that's why I really don't think that freezing rain is a big possibility. I've been humbled before by the weather, so I won't rule it out, but just based on what I'm seeing with these temperatures, I don't think freezing rain is very likely here. I think it's really just going to be snow and sleet. So, and one question that we got a lot this morning was, what kind of snow is this, right? Is it that wet, heavy snow? Is it fluffy snow? This is definitely fluffy snow out there. So for kids, unfortunately, it's not the best for making snowmen and snowballs and stuff like that, but it is still really good for, I'm thinking of the slopes. I know our slopes here in Connecticut are probably having a field day with all of this. I mean, this is the kind of snow that they would make for the slope. So I'm thinking tomorrow, if you've got the day off of school, roads should be in much better shape tomorrow. Hit the slopes. It's going to be great. I mean, fresh, 1.5 feet of fresh powder. Can't really beat that. This is great for sledding too. Snow angels sledding, whatever it might be. This is the snow for that. For people cleaning off the snow, it's pretty easy to do so. You just grab a snow blower and you should be good to go. Once that sleet mixes in, that's where it gets a little tougher. So, and again, we're not really expecting sleet to make its way into the region until closer to about 7 p.m. If you have any more questions or reports, please let me know. We had so many great reports, great questions here. So I really, really appreciate all of that. So again, we're just giving you updates on what's happening. Let's go back to the radar. See again what's going on. As a meteorologist, I'm just in awe of this system here because, I mean, everything has to come together for this to happen, right? You have to have this huge blast of cooler air, and you have to have enough moisture to go along with it, and that's what's happened here. Everybody's been asking me, why has this been such a big system that we've been talking about all week long? And the reason why, I think the big one is that it has stretched over 2,000 miles. I mean, places in like the Arizona, New Mexico border have seen parts of this system. Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, and then now here in New England. I mean, even Louisiana and Texas and Mississippi dealing with it as well. So this is just a crazy system here. And I am in awe of it, but I know it's going to create a lot of issues, especially those areas that are definitely seeing more of an ice storm from this. Let's see what else. Somebody says Waterbury Public Schools says that they will be closed tomorrow. Good news for them. Of course, we have all of those closings on our website. If you want to see what's happening in your area, we've got that. Somebody asked, will there be thunder snow? Will it be windy? Thunder snow, I can't rule it out, especially as that the center of this system rolls a little bit closer to us later on this afternoon and evening as that snow picks up. Let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit on this system here. Somebody also asked if it's going to be windy. We'll see a little breeze here and there, but nothing crazy. Maybe a wind gust up to about 25, 30 miles an hour. But that's nothing near blizzard conditions or anything like that. But if you do see that some wind, snow's gonna be blowing all over the place because this is dry, fluffy snow. It's not compacted, so you will see some snow drifts from some of those drifts. Somebody said, I have family in Texas there. Power went out and trees were falling down. They got 1 inch of ice. That's actually crazy. To give you an idea, ice storm warnings go out when we're expecting a half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, but over an inch of ice that's horrible. And that'd be detrimental to us here in New England. I can't imagine how it's going to impact the South there in Texas. Now, they're going to warm up a little bit quicker than the rest of us will, and it'll eventually melt. But man, that's tough. Thank you for the report. But that's tough. Okay, here's the snow again. Let me see if I can grab my little clicker here and just show you what's going on. So let's go ahead and pause this. So I want to show you what's happening here. So you see that just those darker blues next to where the sleet is, that's where I expect the heaviest of the snow to move in. So that's why I'm still expecting those snowfall rates to increase as we head into the afternoon hours. So I mean, it's not good right now. That's what we're seeing for sure. But I still think the worst is yet to come after about 3 p.m. or so until that sleet tries to take over at about 7. So that's kind of what I'm watching there. Let me go ahead and zoom out again. Let's do this. And you can see the core of this system kind of sitting over the Carolinas right now. So as that gets closer to us, that'll provide some heavier bands as well. Is it a guarantee that Groton will get sleet? I would think yes, it's a guarantee that Groton gets sleet. I would think all of the shoreline, it's kind of a guarantee at this point that we will see sleet. Somebody's also asking, what would it be considered to be a blizzard? And that's a good question. I'm going to look it up because I think it has to do, it's specific. You have to see specific wind gusts for a specific amount of time. Let me just look that up for you just to be certain. Because I don't want to say something that's completely incorrect. Okay, so yes, I was right. So we need winds in excess of 35 miles an hour for at least 3 hours consistently. And that also leads to visibility is less than a quarter mile. So we're actually not too far off from those conditions, right? We're already seeing visibility is less than a quarter of a mile. It's been about an hour now. Yep, somebody said 35 miles per hour for wind for 3 hours in a row. Will Middletown get sleet? Middletown, I think you're going to be right on the edge there. I think you might hear, and again, you'll hear when sleet happens. It's loud on your windshields there, on your windows. In Middletown, you might hear a couple of those ice pellets there on your windows, but I don't think it's enough to like weigh down the snow like what we're expecting at the shoreline. Will sleet kind of lower those totals at the shoreline? I do think a little bit. The only reason why it's so interesting, this system, because for the longest time we're like 10 to 18 inches, foot and a half of the snow across the region. Let me show you those totals actually as well. We did lower them at the shoreline, but here's the kicker. I still think that 12 to 18 inches of snow will fall at the shoreline, but that sleet is going to weigh it down, compact it to where it looks smaller. Isn't that interesting? That's just dry snow versus wet snow versus ice. It's all relative, right? Because at the end of the day, everybody in Connecticut sees impactful snow and some sleet that they're going to have to shovel. So it's an interesting concept for sure, but still expecting a foot to a foot and a half for much of the state. It looks lower at the shoreline because of that sleet. I can see sleet totals there, that little bit of ice, just about a quarter inch of it. Doesn't sound like much, but it's enough to weigh things down. That's also going to be heavier to remove. So another thing to note at the shoreline there as you're shoveling. Okay, let's see. Middletown, how much are we looking at there? I think Middletown has a good shot of about a foot, a little over a foot there. I would say the best chance for 18 inches, or maybe I wouldn't surprise me if some hill towns were even close to 20 inches. I think their best chance for those high-end results are going to be in our hill towns there, higher elevations. The NBC Connecticut app shows freezing rain for me. I will say, sometimes models can have a really tough time depicting sleet versus freezing rain. Again, I don't really see freezing rain as a concern, just based on what I said earlier, but ice pellets, even still, sleet can stick together and create kind of an icier surface. So it'll be something to pay attention to at the shoreline. I think it kind of stays south of the Middletown area, but if you're in our southern counties, there's going to be a chance, especially at the shoreline, a very good chance for that sleet. In Enfield, we are thinking, I would say closer to that foot and a half total there. I think the bullseye of this system kind of stays closer to Massachusetts. So the further north you are, better chance you have at seeing that foot and a half to maybe even 20 inches. I wouldn't be surprised if we have some isolated areas up to 20 inches of that snow. Waterbury, I would say, is probably closer to the 12 to 14 inch mark. That would be my guess there. But at the end of the day, still impactful, still very high totals across the region. Oh my goodness. Let me grab a drink of water real quick. A little thirsty. But thank you all again for joining us. We really appreciate it here on your Sunday. What a great Sunday to just enjoy and stay inside and watch this from the windows. That's kind of how I would go about it. Somebody's asking about Colchester. Colchester, I think there's going to be a little bit of a chance for some sleet to mix in. I don't think it's as much as the immediate shoreline, but still something that we might be seeing a few ice pellets in there. I would say those totals would probably be closer to the 12-inch mark. Are we going to lose power? Winds are going to be on the calmer side. Calmer. They're not super, super strong, but and we're not necessarily seeing like ice accumulate. I don't think we'll see ice accumulations on power lines and stuff like that. But unfortunately, we can't predict power outages. But I would just say those are the two main things I do look for when I'm thinking about power outages in meteorology. So Hopefully we don't, but it's also extremely cold, so people might be cranking that heat, and that can, lead to power outages as well. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but we'll keep you updated if it does, and we'll walk you through it for sure. Did the governor close the roads? I do know at noon there is a commercial ban, tractor trailers and stuff at noon are not allowed to be on the roads after that. We have more of those details on our website, nbcconnecticut.com. I'm just a weather lady. I'm just the meteorologist here, so I don't know a lot about all of the news that we have delivered, but you can always stay updated there. How much for Salisbury? Salisbury, I think we have a really good shot, that northwest corner there. I would say we have a really good shot of 1.5 feet, maybe even close to 20 inches of snow. Quite a bit of it. So that's what we'll be tracking here with this system. I'm watching in the corner of my eye. We have some people here at the station who are camping out because of this snow. We all got to work here. So that's what a lot of people are doing. But we make it fun. If we have any more questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, I'll kind of wrap this up here in the next few minutes just so we can take a break and reassess what's going on, and we'll have more updates as the day goes on. I'm also just seeing on CT roads, traffic is moving very, very slow out there because of all of the snow that we're seeing right now. I'm going to see if we have any updates on from our team as well, just making sure that we are all kept up to date with what's going on here. We're all just having a good old-fashioned snow day here. Let's see if there's any updates. Doesn't look like it, so that is good. We'll take it. Yeah, it looks like CT transit service was suspended after noon today. Everybody, it looks like our evening crew is starting to come in as well because of just how snowy it is. So, all right, there's our updates for you. Somebody said, how about Boston? Well, let me go to this one first. Are we still going to see 1 to 3 inches an hour? I do think that is possible as we go into the afternoon hours. Let me show you those hourly snowfall rates. As for Boston, I think potentially 2 feet of snow is possible in Boston. They kind of see I think Massachusetts kind of sees the bullseye of this system, and that could nick the northern part of Connecticut. Goodness, my words are, I've been awake since 2 a.m. So it catches up to you at some point. I do want to show you those snowfall rates there because 1 to 3 inches of snow per hour is very possible with the fluffy snow, especially this afternoon. I would say it's probably going to be closer to about 2 inches per hour, these snowfall rates here as we go into the afternoon. And here it is. Yeah, you can see that pink there. That's almost 3 inches per hour. So very heavy snow. That's going to create some really, really hazardous conditions. Heavy snow right now in East Haven. Thank you for the report. Any chance the sleet line stalls or gets suppressed to our south? It's always a possibility, but I would say the warm nose that we're tracking with this system gets pretty far north to where I think it's still kind of we're pretty much expecting it at the immediate shoreline. It could get stalled there. It just depends on how far north it wants to move. But we're just kind of expecting the shoreline. It's expected to see at least a little sleet accumulation. It could be as far north as Middletown, Waterbury. I don't really think we'll hear any sleet here in Hartford. And I say here because you can actually hear it hitting your windows. What is Shelton looking like for snow totals? Shelton, I would say that's closer to the foot mark there, and then a little bit of sleet suppressing that. So again, fluffy snow, it piles up very quickly, and then sleet will kind of weigh it down and force it to compress. It's very interesting. Science is very weird. I love it. That's why I love it so much. But dry snow will accumulate faster because it does not compact. It does not want to compact to each other. So it literally looks like it's a higher total than not. And then sleet will compact it and make it look smaller. So with these totals here, it's still impactful no matter where you go. I still think kind of the similar totals fall across the state here, but that sleet at the shoreline will just compact it a little bit more. Somebody says heavy snow in Ansonia right now. Somebody said Trumbull around a foot. Yeah, I would say probably closer to 12 to 14 inches there in Trumbull. Meriden, I would probably say 12 to 16 inches possible there. The sleet will start after about 7 p.m. That's kind of when we expect that warm nose to move into the region. But you could start hearing some sleet pellets as early as about 5 or 6, I would say. But I would say most of that sleet develops after about 7 p.m. Let me go ahead and look at some more things here. We're going to wrap this up here in the next about 5 minutes or so, just so we can take a break and reassess everything. And we're going to start doing some cut-ins on TV as well, if you want to join us on NBC Connecticut on Channel 30 there as well. Okay, we've got some more questions here. Sorry, guys. It's just being awake for a long time. That'll do it for you. Let's see. Somebody's asking about Terryville for totals. I would say that would be, I would probably be closer to the 14 to 16 inch mark. That would be my guess there. The best chance for those higher end totals, the further north and the higher in elevation that you go, is that better chance for 18 inches, maybe even some outlying areas near 20. Some little towns tend to always overperform. So that's why I would say that better chance for the lower end of a foot is closer to the shoreline, wherever that sleet can start to mix in. Let's see. Litchfield, we're thinking I would say Litchfield closer to 1.5 feet. Milford, I would say closer to that foot mark. And again, that sleet mixing in there, that's going to weigh that snow down. I think the big takeaway here is you're seeing a lower total at the shoreline. At the end of the day, I think we're all getting the same amount of moisture. The big difference, though, is that sleet is going to weigh it down. So while fluffy snow, 1.5 feet of it for the rest of us, grab your snow blower and you're good to go. But with that sleet coming into play, that is going to create, as you're shoveling, that adds several pounds to what you're shoveling there. So that's where there's an issue. So make sure you're just taking care of yourself. Take plenty of extra breaks as you are shuffling. For West Hartford, I would say probably closer to like the 14 to 18 inch mark, maybe closer to like 16 inches or so. South Windsor, same thing, 14 to 18 inch mark there. So yeah, there you go. Good stuff. So we're going to start to wrap things up here in our weather lab here, live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. We appreciate all of your engagement here. Now we've been on for almost 45 minutes, so we appreciate it. We're going to kind of start to transition to the night crew, because I have now been here for a long time, and now our night side crew our people that are coming in later are filtering in as well. Middletown, I do expect kind of closer to the 12 to 14 inch mark there, with some sleet mixing in potentially. But again, I think it also stays mostly south of Middletown. For northern Danbury, I would say we're probably closing in on that 14 to 16 inch mark, maybe a little bit of sleet mixing in. And again, that sleet mixes in after about 7 p.m. I'm making sure I didn't miss any updates from anybody. I don't think I have. So I'll go ahead and head back to the camera. Thank you all again for joining us today. We really appreciate it. We appreciate your reports as well, your snowfall totals. Send us pictures of you enjoying the snow, sledding, whatever it might be, of course, safely. But we really appreciate it. Again, this is just a little snowstorm for us there. So we appreciate all that you're doing for us. We'll go ahead and wrap things up here this morning. Stay safe. We're going to have you covered on air, online, streaming, wherever you get us. We'll have you covered here on NBC Connecticut as we continue to track the snow. Again, just to wrap it up, snow moderate to heavy through the rest of the day. We'll start to see a little bit of a changeover to sleet this evening after about 7 p.m. or so for southern Connecticut. things start to wrap up actually almost completely at about midnight, but still lingering snow showers on and off through Monday. We're not completely done with this storm until tomorrow evening, but most of it is done later on tonight. Thanks again for joining us. Stay safe, stay warm. We'll see you a little bit later.